Happy Sunday, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. I am in Edinburgh this week. I'm looking after Rosa. She is not at school. She's got school holidays. Right now it's October break, so we've been hanging out loads and just having a great time. Enjoying her age, enjoying her being 6. That's a lot of fun. And you kind of feel like you earn it because it can be tough when they're just little, when they're 2 and 3 and 4 and they're not brilliant at regulating their emotions, and you're just doing your best to get through the days. So it feels amazing to reach this moment where we're able to enjoy things together. We're doing little bits of boxing training together. We're doing little bits of cycling and kind of going to cafes and just hanging out. And I'm loving watching her mind emerge more. So that's been great. Today she's just having a little play date next door with her little mate from school. I'm catching up on some bits of work while they're playing. I guess the theme this week for me has been a continuation on what I was exploring from last week, which was becoming 33, reaching a point in my life where I'm starting to accept who I am on a whole other level. My friends who are in their 40s and 50s have said to me in their journeys that that kind of self-acceptance, that understanding of who you are, that authenticity grows and grows. And I'm just really enjoying that. I'm enjoying being in my 30s. I'm enjoying feeling like I have more headspace, honestly, to just be myself authentically. And it's got me thinking a lot about what it is I want to offer to the world, because I spent the first 13 years of my life creatively, artistically, professionally, just making records and putting them out. And I guess to some extent just hiding behind my art in some ways. These days I feel more like I'm interested in my journey being visible, and I'm interested in being an example for others. I'm interested in showing the aspects of art which are, I guess, just not shown as much, or maybe shown more in documentary form. And I'm interested in creating a community online where people have a place that they can go and kind of feel inspired, feel uplifted, feel like the values of creation are more upheld. And that's really the reason behind the £1 Club that I've created. Is above all else, I've always known that I didn't want to just be a songwriter. I've known that I want to create a space where creativity is normalized. And I think how many problems in life come from people not having a creative outlet and therefore falling down holes of addiction, falling down holes of consumption. And for me, as someone who grew up around violence and abuse, it's been something which has gotten me through a lot of difficult times, and it's given me a good option in times when there's bad options. Like if you do come from a space of trauma or abuse, it's very, very easy to fall down a hole of covering that pain over with things that are not helpful. So for me, creativity has been an amazing way through things. I've sort of been thinking this week about some things that have really helped me, and I've kind of written a rough list of 10 of them, I guess as a way for you to get to know me, but also maybe there is some things in there that could be useful for you. First one is to do therapy. I've done 13 years of therapy. I feel like I have a responsibility to advocate it, in the sense I have only been able to do bigger things in my business, do bigger things with my music, be more visible, be a present parent, be a calm parent, be an emotionally regulated parent because of therapy. And it's just an amazing thing that's available to us. I understand there's a lot of people who feel they're in a position where they can't afford it. My response to that would be, it's helped me make more money. Because when I wasn't emotionally regulated, it was incredibly difficult to build my business or engage in things that could help me financially, even educate myself about financial matters. It's really, really difficult for people to see the game of money and understand the game of money from a space of trauma, from a space of emotional dysregulation. So if you're thinking it's something you can't afford, all I would say is, for me, it's given me a lot more tools which have then translated into managing my money better and making more money. I also always like to make the point that music's not therapy, chatting to your mates is not therapy, doing art is not therapy. It's the same as like you wouldn't speak to a friend about a liver problem, right? You would go to a doctor. Therapists are trained to help you with your mind. So I definitely cannot underestimate the amount that has impacted my life in a positive way. And the second thing that helped me loads, which leads on, is to do things that you think you can't do. For me, the therapeutic journey was to some extent one of exposure, one of stepping into the spaces I felt afraid of and understanding there are things which I actually can do, which I thought that I couldn't. Each time that I've done something, which my story was I can't do that, aka like be more visible, right? Be on social media more, do big gigs, like step in front of loads of people, do boxing, lose weight. I was 18 stone at one point. I'm now 12 and a half or whatever. All these things which I thought that I couldn't do, as I've moved towards them, that's given me a confidence, it's given me a strength, and it's given me a perspective, which has made my life better. The foundation of having a therapeutic relationship has really helped me. It's allowed me to take those steps. The third thing which has helped me immensely is creativity, creative practice. As I said previously, the energy of creation in your life, that garden to constantly go to, is such an amazing tool, and it's something that can really help you to have a place to put your pain, have a place to put your suffering and make sense of your suffering and transmute it into something positive. The fourth thing that has really helped me as someone who grew up with abuse and trauma is to practice strong decision making. A lot of the path of coming out of abuse and coming out of trauma is just to trust yourself and trust that your own decisions are okay and valid. I heard a great quote one time which said, "The decisions you make are not as important as your ability to manage your mind about the decisions you make." That quote changed my life. Decision making is like this muscle. When do I release this album? Do I leave this relationship? Do I start this relationship? Do I work out in this way? Do I lose weight? Do I try and gain muscle? Do I go boxing or do I work on my business? Do I book childcare or take Rosa myself? Quite big decisions. If you actually just make the decision, you find yourself in this new circumstance. That's where all your power is. I think if you come from a background where you're taught to question your own kind of decision-making processes, it's actually just a muscle that's underdeveloped. Our whole system is set up like that. The school system's set up to make you question your own decisions and the validity of your choices. But I would say actually that muscle of practicing making big decisions and managing your mind about the decisions that you make and feeling good about them is a really powerful thing, and it's something that's helped me loads as a person, as a dad, as a business owner, as a creative. The fifth thing I worked on loads, and it's helped me tons, is appreciating myself. And the way I actually did that was just to sit every morning and write an appreciation list. It can be anything. It could be, I appreciate that I dress well. I appreciate that I've made my bed. I appreciate that I worked on my album today. I appreciate that I showed up for Rosa the best that I could today. I appreciate that I've built really good friendship connections. I appreciate that I'm a present boyfriend. I appreciate that I'm trying. I appreciate that I keep my house calm and clean, right? It doesn't have to be complicated stuff, but building this list, right, it becomes for me part of my life that whenever I'm kind of dropping into a negative space, that then becomes something that I can just lean back into, and it's really, really helpful. The sixth thing that's helped me loads as someone who grew up with abuse and trauma is to avoid mainstream media. I think everyone needs different treatment in life and everyone needs different things, but if you've come from a traumatic environment, you just don't need more of that kind of spice in your life. If you think about mainstream media as spice, right? I don't think it is actually a way of staying informed. I think it's a way of feeling differently. Everyone needs to level themselves out. Some people are too confident. They need to bring it down. Some people are not confident enough. They need to bring it up. Some people are not suffering enough, so they need to bring more suffering in. Some people suffer too much. They just need an easier ride. Mainstream media is not for everyone. If you come from a chaotic, unstable background, you probably want to avoid it because it's just more chaos and instability. I don't need mainstream media. It's not something that I need in my life to understand that there's pain in the world, to understand that there's suffering in the world. I actually need to guide my ship in the direction of there's positive things in the world, there's good stuff in the world. And so if you come from a chaotic background, that could be you too. You might do better actually noticing the positive things and really focusing on them. The seventh thing, which has helped me a lot, is to create new traditions as a family. As a man who comes from a background where there are definitely things that I've taken from my family upbringing, but in some ways when you come from a chaotic background, you have to kind of build your own traditions. And that can be lonely as a thing to do because you don't necessarily have the example or the guidance, but also it's cool because it's another form of creativity. For example, boxing with Rosa every single morning is not something which was really normalized in my family. Health wasn't really normalized in my family in the sense of me and Rosa go swimming all the time together. I would say in my upbringing there was a lot of unhealthy examples of how to live, and so I've had to kind of create these new traditions which help me live a good life, help my daughter live a good life, and give me this new space to move towards, right? Rather than looking back, I'm looking forwards and I'm moving towards stuff. The eighth thing that's helped me, and it definitely ties in, is to normalize light. When you come from abuse and you come from trauma, it can be super easy to look at people who are doing quite healthy things and think, God, that's weird. For me growing up, it was like drinking was normalized, drugs was normalized. On some level, chaotic relationships were normalized. Bad boundaries were normalized. So for me, I had to normalize light. I had to look at couples who were in just healthy, nice relationships and not cringe at it, normalize it. I had to look at people who are running and not cringe at it, normalize it. I had to look at people who are swimming, not cringe at it, normalize it. I had to normalize light in my life. That sounds obvious, but actually it's something which has taken me a lot of work because the paint that you're using on the canvas is all dark. It's not normal for you to find light and use that on your painting. So normalizing light has been super helpful for me. The ninth point leads in again is going to the gym. That's a great environment for normalizing light. The only reason someone's in the gym is because they want to improve something. It's like if you go to the pub and everyone's drunk and it's 1 a.m. versus you go to the gym at 10 a.m. on a Monday. Yes, there's some people who are maniacal about their kind of muscle building or their weight loss or whatever, but mostly in the gym, it's a way of normalizing light because most people are in there doing their best to improve something. And so I find that an amazing environment to put myself in regularly. The last thing I would say that's helped me accept the chaos and the trauma and the abuse is to help other people. My really good friend Seppi, she does coaching and she's interested in coaching and we take big walks, and she said to me, coaching is like rehearsing a really good mindset, and I loved that. So for me now, doing all this creativity that I know so many people want to do and struggle with in terms of even just giving themselves permission to try it and do it, I know that that's a space where I can help people, and it feels really, really good for me to help people with that kind of thing. It helps me in the sense that it helps me get over myself as well, because I used to sort of think quite scarcely about skill sets and talents, and I thought, no, that's for me to keep, but actually I think life's abundant, and I think the more that you give out to the world, the more that's given back to you. And so it feels really good for me now these days to give more of myself, give more of my creative wisdom, give more of my life, give more of my example. My sincere hope is that creating these videos and this content and this output as someone who comes from the background I come from is an example, but can't be an example. If I'm not being honest and open, I'm not giving people the opportunity to see that it is actually possible. So it's my sincere hope, seeing more of me, seeing more of my life, gives you that perspective that it is possible for you as well. That's what I've been thinking about this week. Really appreciate it. If you haven't already, if you could join the £1 club. If you want to join, there's various tiers. There's a £1.50 tier, and I'm putting a lot of content in there. I'm putting a lot of really, really good content in there. And the main point of making the £1 club is to create a place where you can go that's a positive place, which focuses on creativity, where consumption is not the main goal, because If you go out into the street, there's adverts everywhere. Everything's set up. The cities, the architecture of the cities that we live in is designed to make you go places and spend money. And I want to create a place which normalizes creativity, and I want to make it accessible. I want to make it so that anybody could join. Yes, I'm charging something because it takes me life energy to produce quality content and put it out there. And so I'm not going to pretend like I don't like money or use money, because we all do. And you might as well have a good relationship with it. That said, I want to make it like £1.50 a month so it can be Netflix for a bright world, Netflix for a place where people can go and fill their cup with positive, good stuff. And over the years, I'm going to be making it the best place on the internet for creative, good, high vibrational, positive content. That's my goal. And so I'd love to have you in there. Like I say, the lowest tier is £1.50. This week, I'm going to be promoting my Edinburgh show. I'm playing in Edinburgh at the end of the year, and I'm doing a full band show, which I'm really excited about. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys are having a great week. Sending big love. Appreciate you guys.